From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A group of Montana legislators join a national group known as the Freedom Caucus. What they hope to accomplish and what the caucus is all about coming up.
I'm Joe St. George outside the Internal Revenue Service in Washington. What are the odds that your taxes face an audit this year? Should you pay for that extra protection before you file? We break down the possibility next.
Well, happy Thursday, Southwest Montana. Traffic moving along nicely on our campus shot from Montana State University. Not too bad in Butte right now as well. It is cooler than video appears.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest drawback for the morning. I think the afternoon's going to be pleasant. We're going to see sunshine, nice warm up, but the early morning temperatures overall into the teens and 20s for most of the area. A couple of areas dealing with single digits, Wise River, Butte, both in the single digits, 20s out toward West Yellowstone. Again, we're talking more sunshine for most of the day today. Temperatures are going to warm up in a pretty good fashion by the afternoon, eventually topping out near the 30-degree mark as you get into the mid-afternoon. Today's kind of the beginning of that warm-up. We're still going to be chilly. It's going to take some time to warm things up, and that may keep our daytime highs a little cooler for today, but 40s in the forecast as we go through the end of the week. We'll talk about that in our current snowpack numbers. That's coming up in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:30 now. A faction of Montana's GOP has joined a national network of the Freedom Caucus. The group was announced last week. Now, we recently spoke with Senator Barry Usher, a Billings area lawmaker who is a part of the group, about its priorities this session. Senator Usher tells MTN the group's 5 big issues include judicial reform, spending the state's budget surplus on tax cuts, adding legal steps for child protective service workers to remove a child, election issues, and, quote, no foreign ownership of land in Montana, end quote. The group is similar to the House Freedom Caucus in the U.S. Congress, made up of Republican members that tend to be more right-leaning. Some we saw last week challenging the larger GOP body as it voted to make Kevin McCarthy House Speaker. The challenge included Montana's U.S. House Representative Matt Rosendale, who released a statement to support the formation of the Montana Freedom Caucus. Senator Usher told MTN the group expects to work closely with Montana's GOP.
You know, we may take a stronger stance, like I said, and not compromise as much. And again, we with our membership and our allies, we think we're going to have a good voice. And, you know, we need to stand up sometimes and scream a little bit louder saying, no, we need to do this.
Now, a release sent last week says there are 14 Freedom Caucus members, plus some supporters within the GOP who do not want to be identified. Other news following up on our coverage of the Libby asbestos issue, the government wants public comment on an $18.5 million settlement proposed by Governor Greg Gianforte. State says the funds would be used to help restore or rehabilitate injured natural resources in the Lincoln County area as a result of the W.R. Grace mine, which closed back in 1990. After the public comment period closes on February 13th, Montana Natural Resources Damage Program and DEQ will review the remarks and make sure the proposal is entered by the court. The judge will also evaluate the comments to see if the public believes the settlement is fair and reasonable. If the proposal passes, first payment will be expected within 6 months.
Although the governor is the trustee and is the one actually settling this, these are all of our resources. I mean, the state of Montana, we live here because it's a beautiful place to live with wonderful resources, with, you know, beautiful waters and you know, lots of opportunities to recreate. And so this is an opportunity to make the people of Montana closer to whole from some of the damages that have occurred.
Now, to comment, visit the Department of Justice website or follow a link to that on our website. Well, this week's avalanche forecast, considerable danger on all slopes in the Lionhead Range near West Yellowstone. It's moderate on the Madison, Gallatin, Bridger ranges and near Cook City. Gallatin National Forest Avalanche Center says this is important to keep in mind as there have been a fair amount of avalanches in our area recently.
There has been a fair amount of avalanche activity in the last few days. In fact, we know of 7 avalanches that involved human triggers in the last 4 days. What that means is that people that were skiing, snowboarding, or snowmobiling were in steep terrain. Avalanche terrain, we use any slope that we have that's over 30 degrees, and they triggered an avalanche that came down the mountain.
Now, Dave goes on to say that there are 3 pieces of equipment that are absolutely necessary for those heading into steep snow-covered mountains: an avalanche beacon, an avalanche shovel, and an avalanche probe. 6:33 now. It's that time of year when W-2s start to arrive in your mailbox. Perhaps you start thinking of when or how you should file your taxes. This year, though, you could face a higher chance of getting audited. That's because the Inflation Reduction Act allocated billions to the IRS to improve operations. And while Republicans in the House of Representatives have advanced a bill to remove that funding, it's unlikely to pass the Senate before the tax deadline. So who is the most likely to get audited in our country? Should you buy that extra audit protection this year? Our Joe St. George explains.
The alphabet. It's funny how harmless letters can sometimes make you cringe. How about a TSA pat down or a DMV appointment? What about an IRS audit? Most of the year, you probably don't think about this government agency, but that's not necessarily the case as tax season begins in our country. This year, one looming question is, what are the chances of being audited? After all, Congress just spent billions to increase the number of IRS audits each year. It's a valid question this year because of the Inflation Reduction Act, which became law last year. It included around $79 billion in funding for the IRS over the next decade to improve its operations. So how likely are you to now face an AUDIT audit? Should you pay extra for something like audit protection when you file to avoid fees, fines, and headaches?
Audits are going down. Odds of audit are going down.
Meet Sue Long with the Nonpartisan Transaction Records Access Clearinghouse. She's been tracking who gets audited in our country for 50 years. It turns out right now, the rate of being audited is incredibly low.
The odds of audit was less than 1%. It was 0.38%.
If you're wondering who gets audited the most, for millionaires, around 2.38% faced some form of audit last year. Americans who made under $200,000 faced a 0.19% chance. For those making under $25K, your chance increased to 1.27%. Long says her data shows lower income Americans are actually more likely to face scrutiny from the IRS than those who make more.
They have a chance of audit 5.5 times everybody else.
Of course, there is no telling what the numbers will look like this tax season, but the expectation is the IRS will audit more since new staff will be in place. Already, the agency has hired 4,000 plus customer service representatives. Around 500 different job positions to work there are posted online. The IRS commissioner did stress in a letter to Congress last year that his agency has been following the Department of the Treasury's directive that audit rates will not rise relative to recent years for households making under $400,000. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.
All right, so make sure your documents are all in order. Other headlines this morning: Arizona has started to remove shipping containers along the U.S.-Mexico border. Federal government sued Arizona and former Governor Doug Ducey last month after he started installing the containers. Governor Ducey says the containers were supposed to be temporary and stay in place only up until the federal government filled the gaps in the permanent wall. Arizona shares a 370-mile border with Mexico. The container removal is part of a settlement between the federal government and Ducey before he left office. Scripps national correspondent Audie Guardo has the latest.
In an Arizona national forest full of beauty and thriving with wildlife, unnatural changes stand out.
It's such an eyesore because this is so industrial.
Miles Trappenhagen, the program coordinator at Wildlands Network Borderlands, an organization working to protect nature, is talking about this makeshift wall built from shipping containers at the U.S. border in Coronado National Forest and raises concerns about its impacts on wildlife.
The San Rafael Valley and the Huachuca Mountains are a hotbed for biodiversity. And this is a crucial migration corridor for many species here. The most notable of which is the jaguar.
We've had over 100 cameras down here at the border for the last almost 3 years.
Emily Burns, the program director with Sky Island Alliance, a nonprofit protecting wildlife and habitats, says video captured at Coronado National Forest shows the temporary wall disrupted wildlife crossings and scarred the protected environment deemed an Arizona jewel. Burns now worries more wildlife habitats will be damaged in the process of removing the shipping containers. She credits community members who peacefully protested the wall for bringing construction to a halt.
We think that in the last few weeks of the protests, they probably stopped 1.5 miles of container wall from being built.
This double-stacked container wall began going up in October. And now, less than 3 months later, following a political battle with the U.S. government over authority and trespassing on federal land, former Arizona Republican Governor Doug Ducey agreed to stop operations and remove the containers. Back in August, Ducey ordered the placement of these old shipping boxes to close wall gaps along the Arizona-Mexico border, calling it a temporary response to an emergency crisis at the border. The estimated $95 million job to place 3,000 containers was about a third complete before it was called off. Containers closed nearly 1 mile of gaps along Yuma County, Arizona, where migrant crossings ballooned last fiscal year and remain high.
Those containers have been serving their purpose and restricting access into the United States.
But conservationists say migrant crossings in this forest are uncommon.
These double-stacked shipping containers are 22 feet tall, and they have razor wire up top. But some gaps are so wide, anyone can walk through and get to the other side.
It's just such a huge waste of taxpayer money.
State contracts released to Scripps News by environmentalists show it will cost taxpayers more than $75 million to remove the containers.
It's not serving any purpose other than, making a blight on the landscape and being a political stunt.
A stunt some say dates back generations.
I study border walls, and I've done so for decades.
Kenneth Madsen, an associate professor of geography at Ohio State University, says border walls can help funnel migrants to one area, but overall, he finds them ineffective.
Border walls have the appearance of being simple. You put them up, you stop people, but in reality, they're just not as effective as people would like them to be, and they do have a lot of other unintended negative consequences.
As heavy machinery moves in to remove containers across the Arizona border, conservationists say they'll be monitoring every move.
We're going to be looking at, are they causing damage in the process?
This makeshift container wall along the Arizona-Mexico border is expected to take several weeks to dismantle. Addie Guajardo, Cochise County.